My name is Joe Shapiro, and I work with the Comptroller's Compass program. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get going. First of all, if everybody could please make sure that they are muted. That way there won't be any kind of feedback or issues for the speaker. If you have questions during the presentation, there's two options. You should see a little hand icon listed right by your name. If you press that, that will alert the presenter that there is a question. And if you're not comfortable with that, you can use the chat function and type your question. There will be question and answers period at the end. However, we're happy and our presenters are happy to answer questions as we go along as well. This presentation is being recorded, so it will be available afterwards to share with some of your colleagues who couldn't make it this morning. So just let us know and we're happy to send it to you. And without further ado, I'd like to get things started and introduce somebody who needs no introduction for this crowd, Jeff Kelly, the director of our Field Enforcement Division, to start things off. Thank you very much again for joining us. Jeff?
Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate that. Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning still. Thank you for joining us. It's a new world we're in right now, and we're trying out this technology. Maybe it'll be something that we'll want to do continuing in the future because we save on your travel, your time, your parking. So it might be a good platform to share information as we figure out what things are going to look like for us in the coming months. But again, thank you very much. We're here to give you an update on where we are on our new Compass computer system, our completely integrated tax system for the Comptroller's office. It's scheduled to go live for alcohol-related taxes and licensing on July 7th. It's something we started planning a couple of years ago, and here we are. We're just a couple of not even a couple of months anymore away from going live. What this means largely for us is we're taking a patchwork of varieties of systems and files that are not related, they're not integrated. Quite frankly, it's just as we needed something new, a new program was developed, or a new program was purchased, or a new file was made. And that's where we exist today. What's going to happen is all of that is going to be coalesced and put on this new platform, this very modern platform, which will allow us to collect data better, more efficiently. Ultimately, will let us give you better customer service, and will give you really some ease of reporting and applying for permits and licenses moving forward. I do want to say that the coronavirus has kind of put a little bit of an obstacle into this for us. It isn't our go live. It isn't anything to do with the system itself. It's the order, the time frame in which things happen. Typically, most of you would have been renewing your licenses by May 1st. And then the governor's executive order in dealing with the coronavirus, one of many, provides that your licenses won't expire on April 30th, and rather they'll stay active until 30 days past once the state of emergency is over, and that's fine. And to the extent that you need that, you should enjoy it and run with it. But here's the rub for us, and this isn't something for you to be concerned about. It might just be a one-time nagging issue for you. If it's at all possible to renew sooner than later, I'd encourage you to do that. Because when this data gets converted over into the new system from our patchwork of stuff, old information is not going to go. It's just not feasible or realistic to move old information over. So the system may indicate that you're expired, even though you're not expired because of the governor's executive order. Our old computer system says you are. When that data is moved over into the new computer system, it's only moving over current licensees. Again, what this means to you is if you don't renew before July, if you don't do that, then you may have to reapply, just go through the whole reapplication process. You're not going to have to stop business. It's nothing like that. It's just going to be the hassle of one more time having to fill out this paperwork. If you are able to renew before then, you can just use the renewal form for one, and then moving forward, because you'll be in the system next year, when it's time to renew, the system will automatically send you a notice saying your renewal is coming up. Then it will send you a coupon that'll say essentially, this is all the data we have about your license. If none of this information has changed, please sign the coupon, send in your check for your license payment, your renewal fee. You'll mail, that's all you'll fill out. You'll mail that into us, and then the system will generate a new license certificate for you and mail it out to you. So trying to avoid that if it's feasible, and just again to underscore this, if it's feasible, if it's not, okay, we'll work with it. But if it's feasible, please try to renew before July so that we can do the best we can at making this completely seamless for you. Also, it's going to be the first time some of you get an opportunity to see these tax forms because some of the taxes may be due starting in July. So what you're going to see today is a great presentation of our new tax forms. They're all a little bit different. Some of them have some rather dramatic changes, better changes, I think. All of them are going to have some changes, even if it's just markings on them that are different. The markings will allow our new equipment to identify the form, identify the fields of data that we need to capture, and then subsequently do all of that completely automated. So it takes the human out of that part of it, which is fantastic. One other thing that will not be available moving forward to you is on our website. If you ever go to look at our state licenses and permits sections, we have historical data of inactive licensees. I don't know how many of you use that. We do. We use it in field enforcement. I don't know if any of you actually use that or not. We're going to have that data in some fashion, I hope, more or less, not necessarily a hard copy, but back to our files again, maybe an individual notebook of information. But that information will not be available on the web. What will happen is moving years out, it will be available again. It won't be the old information. We're going to start new, old information each year because we'll be putting your new information into the new system. And that website then will generate its database from the new systems. I want to put that out there if it's something, I don't want you to be upset about it, but, and I don't think it's going to impact any of you, but it does us a little bit. It's not so bad. But one of the things I'm really excited about is that you're the first one. This is the first release of anything. You guys are the first ones. I've always told everybody who's working on the project, you're a great group of people, you're a friendly group of critics, that you probably won't beat us up over the head for the beginning of this while we're trying to work things out with you and make sure that it gets to be a very good system. But at the same time, you'll be critical where we need to have a critique, and you'll let us know how things are working, so maybe we can tweak here and there. And lastly, this is just the first step. Within the next couple of years, when we're completely integrated, you're going to have a portal that you'll be able to go to a website, enter the portal, enter your specific information so that you come up, your account comes up, and you'll be able to reapply for some things. You'll be able to change data if you need to on your licensing. You'll be able to submit your reports and payments online. A lot of it will be drag and drop type features. It's fantastic. We're a couple of years away from that, but it's going to be something pretty special, and I think you're all going to really like it. So I appreciate, again, you taking the time to be here and listen in on us today, and I hope it isn't too cumbersome or difficult to keep up. And I'm going to turn it over to Mike Binney. If I can, Mike Binney's going to walk us through the balance of the program.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that introduction. Good morning to everyone. It's great to be here. Some of you may recognize my name from being in field audit. I was supervising field audit for a number of years before becoming the assistant program manager on this project. So I'd like to walk you through, I can advance the slides here, there we go. Okay, so I'd like to talk a little, just bring everybody up to speed a little bit on what the project is and where we are. We gave a little bit of this presentation previously, but we have some new folks on the line today, so we'd like to bring you up to speed. Here are some of the high-level project goals that we have set out to do. We would like to have all the taxes and fees administered with streamlined processing and improved customer service in one system. We wanted to have, for the taxpayer, a one-stop self-service portal, which Jeff just talked to us about. As everybody knows, we definitely need to modernize our technology. The new system is going to give us features and enhancements that will allow us to better enforce tax laws and maintain a level playing field for everyone. We wanted a system that already had a proven track record as a commercial off-the-shelf product that's already deployed and working in other areas, but that we could make specific to Maryland and how we administer taxes here. We also wanted to make sure that it was a system that could integrate with one of our current modern technologies, the Teradata data warehouse. And so Revenue Solutions Incorporated answered the call, and they've been with us for a while now. And as Jeff said, we're about to move forward with alcohol tax very soon. The Compass program itself is a major IT modernization project. It is the commercial off-the-shelf product. It's going to be an integrated tax system, meaning that we have, right now we have different systems that we use to administer taxes. It's all going to be in one system now. And we're going to do this with a phased release approach, which means we're going to bring in different tax types on sort of a different time frame. We can't just do it all at one time. That would just be far too much to do. So we're going to do it in pieces. That first piece is alcohol. The Compass vision statement is to give us a user-friendly system that provides a single view of the taxpayer so that we can deliver better customer service to the taxpayer of Maryland. So with one system, all of the Comptroller agency employees rather will have access to this system and will be able to see everything that we need to for a taxpayer to give them good customer service and have these updates and transactions and everything in live time. So that's going to be a great advantage to us. As Jeff mentioned, we will eventually have the portal. This is a future online capability. Its target release is the fourth quarter of 22. And some of the things that, like Jeff had already mentioned, we're going to have, we can file returns, reports, schedules, pay electronically, view historically filed returns and payments, obtain permits and renew licenses online. It's going to allow you to manage your account, whether it's changing an address or viewing different balances. You can download electronic copies of correspondence, notices that may have been sent to you. You can also submit service requests to inquire about various tax matters through the portal. You can even delegate access to authorized parties to help manage designated tax functions on your behalf. So this is going to be a real great enhancement when we get there. But first, we're going to need to bring in some of the foundational things with our tax types. In July of 2020, this year, we're going to go live with alcohol. And then right behind that, corporate tax is going to be in the first quarter of 21. So with alcohol, some of the benefits that we're going to see coming up in July is that we're going to eliminate the forms that are going to be processed through our high-speed IBM scanners. It's going to give us faster processing, better data capture from the forms. It's going to be more complete data. The data is now going to be stored in a more stable environment. It's going to be less subject to the possibility of human error through data entry or inadvertently corrupted Excel files or some other place that we might be keeping the data in the legacy systems today. It's going to give us much improved tracking and lookup capabilities for our Comptroller employees of that live data. So it's going to be able to improve our customer service that way. No longer are we going to have to wait for information to flow maybe from like field audit in Baltimore to revenue administration in Annapolis or vice versa. It's going to give us a clean picture of what payments represented. Was it applied to wine or spirits? Was it for a return, for an assessment, overpayment? Those things are going to be clear, and we're going to be able to retrieve that information very quickly for the taxpayers. It's going to give us easier and improved renewal processes. As Jeff mentioned earlier too, you can just mail in that coupon, and if nothing has changed in your account and in your situation, sign the check, send the coupon back, and you're renewed. The application process for a new license or a new permit that you might be applying for, Comptroller employees will be able to have improved capabilities to process through and know exactly and quickly where you are in each step of that process and be able to help you through. It's going to be improved noticing. So we're going to have automated notices that will go out to you. That's going to give you much needed and important information about your account, or maybe through the application process or what have you. Those notices, again, once we get to the portal, you'll be able to view those there. Our notices also have gone through a new plain language review process, so that we've gone through all of our current notices to make sure that the information and the language on there is clear, concise, and understandable. And the other thing that we've done too, that we talked about the last time as well, was updating our forms, which is a much needed component to all of this. Michelle is going to talk about this in a few moments. But come July, we're going to see that all of these core foundational updates to modernize alcohol tax processing will come into play. It's going to give us enhanced data capture to build a clean and live alcohol data repository in our new system to equip our employees to give you that even better customer service that will only further enhance and prepare us for the time when the taxpayer portal will be opened up and we can do even more things online. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Michelle, who's going to talk about forms consolidation and eventually walk through our forms. Michelle? Are you unmuted there, Michelle?
Can you hear me?
Now we can, yes.
Okay, sorry. So we have consolidated a few of the returns. The 30 schedule of the beer acquisition disposition is now going to replace the 037.5, the 323, the 376A, and the 376D, and the E and F. The 024 is now going to replace the non-resident winery, brewery, and distillery, the form 018, 375, and 395. And the 024.1 is now replacing the non-resident distillery backup page 018.1, the 374 non-resident brewery report, and the 395 non-resident distillery deliveries to Maryland retailers. The 034.1 is going to replace the 034.2, the 3, and the 3E. So with that being said, we have added barcodes, targets for positioning of data when it's scanned. We've changed everything to name and trade name. The period end date should all be the same. And then we've added zip code +4 on all forms. The 376 and the 30 Maryland brewery return was our biggest makeover. Lines 1 through 11 is your summary of inventory and acquisitions. We added 2 new lines, 12 and 13, cider and mead. This is for informational purposes only. Lines 14 through 22 are your dispositions. We broke down line 15 into 15A, taproom sales, on-site consumption, and 15B, sales off-site consumption. The total of the two should be your recapitulation, or as we call it, the county sheet, which would be your 037-2. Line 23 through 25 is the calculations. So then we get down to the 30, the schedule 30. So your secondary form or schedules were consolidated into one, which is now the 30, the beer acquisition and disposition. The schedule number up in the top right-hand corner is what guides us or leads from your schedules to the front of the return. It tells us where everything's supposed to go. And no negative numbers should be entered on the schedules. Any returns that you're being, that are coming back to you are going to be entered on line 19. You should keep a schedule of returns for your own records for when you're audited. The schedule 30 consists of 2 pages. The first page is standard packages, And the second page is custom packages. So you'll fill out the top portion with all your custom packages. And then you'll have to go down and put in your conversion factor. So that now takes us down to the 037, the wholesaler's monthly beer report. You'll be sending in the 37, the 30, and the 37-2 with this return. We have added we've added the barcodes, the targets for the positioning, which is up in the right-hand corner for when it's scanned. Name, trade name, period, end date, and zip code +4. The 30 is your schedule of beer acquisitions and dispositions. The schedule number letter is what, again, is guiding us and you to the front of the return. And that is basically all that we have changed. Again, on here, you'll see that the 30 has 2 pages. The first page is your standard packages, and the second page is your custom packages. And now the 34. The 34, we have taken and added all the same information at the top, with the barcodes, the trade name, the targets. We've combined the 034-3 and the 3E into one. That is the 034-1. The report of wine, distilled spirits activity. The schedule number letter is telling us what type of transaction and where it needs to go on the main return. We removed the wording on the main return for dumps and number of dumps, and we've changed it to transferred. Moved schedule G3 and G4, but we are still capturing the information on line 28, returned for bottling, and line 29, breakage. The schedule H is the recapitulation form, or again, as we call the county sheet. This is on line 32. And then that takes us to the 024. The 024 is where we combined all the non-resident winery, distillery, and breweries together. The biggest change was the combination of the 3 and coming up with the backup page that we can capture everything. So for breweries, you'll no longer have standard packages. You'll have to give the brand name, the size, the number of the bottles or kegs sold, and total gallons for each brand sold. That was all the changes for that. So now we can move on to the 027. I'm sorry, Mike, can you go back to the 024? I did forget one thing. So right there, your permit number is going to be telling us whether you're the non-resident winery, brewery, or distillery. So that's how we're going to know which one you are. Now you can go down, Mike. So all of the storage reports were combined into one. We kept it the 027 and the 027-1. And again, your permit number is going to be telling us which type of storage you are, whether you're the non-resident storage, import, export, public storage, or public storage and transportation. And then on the secondary page, the 027-1, you have a checkbox that you'll tell us whether you received the product or shipped and delivered the product. And that is about it. So if you have any questions, we were going to have Denise. I don't know if she's been able to get signed on. She was having trouble this morning. But you can, if you guys have any questions, we'll try and answer the best we can.
I saw a couple of things pop up in the window. Looks like some conversations going on. Anybody have any questions that we can ask about any of the forms?
Forms. Is this just questions about the forms themselves? Hi, this is Greg Parnas. I'm an attorney with DC Beverage Law Group. Is this particular round of questions, is it just about the forms?
Primarily. If you have some other questions about the system, we can do our best to answer that as well.
Yeah, I just confirm, will there be a fully secured online payment option now for permits, excise taxes, any other sort of payment that's required for the Comptroller's office? Thank you.
Yeah, so we're still going to go through the debit payment process that we currently have. We will be able to see. I'm sorry.
And that will extend to fees for filing permits as well?
Mike, this is Jeff. Greg, yeah, eventually, yes. Once the portal is up, all of that will happen, but that won't happen until the portal is up. I think you'll see some continued incremental improvements throughout the next couple of years. But then in 2022 is when we expect to have our portal operational. And at that point, everything should be able to be done through the portal. Your payments, your applications, your renewals, tax information returns, tax returns, all of it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
I did have a scrolling through the distilled spirits sheet. It appears that there's still the dual reporting of proof gallons as well as U.S. gallons. Has any thought been given to basically having parity along with ATV reporting to make it proof gallons across the board instead of having to switch over to standard U.S. gallons in finished product?
There hasn't been, to my knowledge. Certainly, we have not talked about that in relationship to the project. Jeff, I don't know if there's anything within the Comptroller's office that has ever acknowledged that, but to my knowledge, we are continuing to base the taxes off of wine gallons.
Is there a way for us to provide feedback to you guys in that regard? Because that's what takes distilleries the longest amount of time to fill in our forms, is having to make that conversion, because it's not normally how we do any sort of quantification of our product.
I'm not aware of any. It's Jeff. I'm not aware of any. Lou, if you're on there, is there anything you can add to this? Because I know we've talked about why we've used it in the past. I'm not certain you're still here, Lou, but if you are, could you chime in?
Definitely submitted that back in the past to you guys. We're just not sure of the best avenue to do that.
And I would, again, not to put the burden on anyone else, Jeff here again. Kevin, would you mind? We'll talk about this stuff. Don't know if we can make changes, but we'll talk about it if you'd like to get together at some later point and go over these issues.
Jeff, that works.
Okay, great.
This is Brian Dale from Scorpion Brewing Company. I have a quick question. So earlier you're mentioning, the governor's order allowing us to extend our license throughout this state of emergency. I know I'm expecting the state of emergency at least last a year. So if we don't have our license renewed, will we still be able to utilize this to pay our excise taxes? Because I continue to pay my excise taxes. I'm just holding off on the $1,500.
Well, I'm not sure that you can pay your excise tax. I'm not sure that you can pay your excise taxes electronically. Maybe you can. I would say that probably won't change if you're already able to do that electronically. I might not be the best one to answer that.
I'm currently allowed to, yeah. But I mean, my license is technically still good because they've extended it.
I just don't know about the practicality of what you'll be able to enter into with the system. I don't know what you can do electronically. It isn't going to be a question of whether or not you're licensed. It's whether or not you're going to take full advantage of the system as we're bringing it on board.
So this is Mike, and I was trying to answer a little bit earlier too. And what Jeff said was correct, is that we're not going to have any changes at this time with the way that payments are being made. You still have alcohol e-file available to you. Any returns that are filed through that are going to be fed to the data is going to be fed to the new system. The payment processes that are set up for that are still going to remain the same. And so as far as the mode of payment, those things are going to remain the same for now until the portal opens up, and then that will change how you can make payments. But right now, the methods that are there currently will remain the same for the time being.
So we'll just continue doing what we've been doing, and it'll automatically go into the system, and then whenever situation becomes normal again, we'll be able to get onto the system, the new system.
Correct. So we're setting it up so that the forms now will be feeding data into the new system. Anything that you do through the alcohol e-file will be fed to the new system.
Thanks.
Mike, can you?
Mike, there was one question sent to the chat system that asked, will the alcohol tax system include the sales and use tax, or will it remain separate?
That will remain separate for the time being. In the future, sales and use tax will come into the system along with all the other tax types in the incremental plan. So this first release for July is focused on alcohol and the excise tax specifically.
I'm going to put an email address into the chat. If you have further questions or think of something after this presentation, if you email us at compass@marylandtaxes.gov. We'll make sure your questions or comments
All right, well, I think if there are any further questions, this is all that we had for today to present. Berman.
I'm here. This is Denise. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we sure can, Denise. Welcome.
Hi. I just, on the question about on the 034 for the distillery to report, if you look at the 034, it looks like I think we did change column 2 to distilled spirits proof gallons. If that's what they were talking about.
Yes, and that is for the unfinished bulk goods.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. So the column 2 in unfinished has always been in proof gallons.
Okay.
It's the finished product standard US gallons that we were kind of hoping to see a change in.
All right, let me write that.
Right, and that is still going to be remaining in US gallons for the time being.
Yes. And then on the tax payment, we're staying with the direct debit payment.
Correct.
Yes.
I saw Gina raise a hand.
Hi, Mike. I just wanted to weigh in just to let you know, let everyone know, the regulations are currently based on gallons, regular standard gallons for our tax. So we need that number in order to calculate the tax, because you are paying your taxes based on the volume of alcohol that you're selling. The unfinished bulk product that we're asking the information for at the top is mostly coming from your TTB forms, and that is in proof gallons. So we're thinking it's actually easier to pull that information in proof gallons to put it on your state form, because that's similar, or it's where you're pulling the information from in terms of production. It's certainly, as everyone said, it's going to be a further conversation to get a regulation change for that tax calculation. But right now, that's just an explanation for why those two things are separate. Does that help at all? Hopefully. Okay, so I do understand that that would be easier. I've had talks with some of the distilleries before about translating that to the bottom. But we don't actually have that option at this point unless we had a regulatory change on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions or comments at this time? If not, I'll say thanks again for joining us. You have an email if you have any questions that pop up later or have any comments. And thank you again for your cooperation and your time today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.